Today, we will be covering support and resistance. These are very common terms when it comes to stock trading. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about, what it is. I'm going to show you examples, and then we'll give you some tips and leave you off with that. Now, remember, when it comes to seeing a lot of this stuff that I teach in this academy, a lot of it's going to come down to chart time, right? You need to go into the charts. You can't just watch these videos. You have to go into the charts, apply yourself, and look for it. So let's get into it. What is support and resistance? So we can do a basic Google search on this. We can type in support and resistance. Let's just say stock market. Okay. And support and resistance, it's usually, it's marked with the highs and lows on the chart. So here's support and resistance. Here's a really good example. If I look in this picture, right, I have a high here, a high here, a high here, a high here. I have a low here, a low here, a low here, a bunch of lows and a bunch of highs. But what can you generally see, right? They're all pretty much at the same height in terms of these highs, and all these lows are pretty much at the same level as well. So like support and resistance suggests, right? Support is really the floor for price. It's where price is constantly supporting, right? If price keeps putting these lows in here, that's support. It's showing price is holding up. Same with resistance, it's just on the other side. One analogy I like to throw at people is if you think about a house, the house contains pretty much these two core elements, right? You have the support of your house, or like the foundation of your house. And then you also have the ceiling of your house or the roof of your house, which is your resistance, right? That's one analogy you can use when you're applying it to the charts. Now let's start diving in here and looking at examples. Now, since I'm an ICT trader, and if you don't know what ICT is, that's fine. But ICT, you may hear the term around the internet known as buy side liquidity or sell side liquidity. In other words, buy side liquidity is going to be your resistance. Sell side is going to be your support. Now, why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about different terms here? Why am I introducing new terms? I'm not. This is just another way to say it. The reason why I'm showing you this is because the concept of liquidity is what you need to focus on. So one thing I mentioned a second ago is I mentioned how support and resistance is indicated by highs and indicated by lows. These are the drivers here. So in this example here, here's my high that I'm indicating. I'm indicating this high as well, this high, and this high. For support, I'm indicating this low, and this low. Now, quick tip, these don't need to be exact, right? You can see how these lines are, you can see how these levels aren't leveled like exactly the same. That's okay. Support and resistance is just a generalized region or area on the chart. Generally speaking, when price gets near this blue box at the top, we see resistance, and then we may reject, right? We pushed up, rejected, right? 3 times off of this, arguably 4. Same with support. In other words, this is a level in which I expect price to potentially bounce. Now, what's cool about support and resistance and how you can start using it in your trading is that it gives you, again, a region to kind of narrow your focus on what price is trying to do here. You can see from a quick glance that we're pretty much like boxed in here, right? We're almost in this box. The resistance being the rooftop of my house, the support being the floor of my house. The green is the box or my house. And since we're in here, this gives me a region to locate price. So let's say price gets out of this box, right? You could see some explosive movement like we did today. Let's say price breaks below the box. It works the same. You can also use this box as another reference. Let's rewind here. Let's say price comes up to this level, right? And here's going to be a tip as well. Let's say price breaks through it like this. One thing you can note with support and resistance levels is that they can flip-flop. Okay, so in this example here, old resistance can become new support, right? And then let's say I start my next area of price. So now this will be my new support level that I'm focused on, and this will be my new resistance level that I'm focused on. Are you starting to see how this works, right? Support and resistance is just areas generally where highs and lows are getting respected, right? And we can use those areas to find reactions, right? We can use those areas to find trades. Now, when you're marking support and resistance, you want to have context too. You don't just want to say, hey, I have a line marked here, so when price gets down there, I think we're going to bounce. In this example, we did, but don't always anticipate that, right? You just want to look for a reaction. We could either do 3 things really, right? If price gets down to, let's say, this support level in this example here, we can do one of 3 things. We can either bounce, we can either hold it or consolidate, trade sideways, or we can break through it, right? So you either bounce off it, break through it, or hold it. Those are really the 3 options there. Now let's go through the charts here and start marking support and resistance levels, and then I'm going to leave you guys with that homework, okay? I want you guys to spend, 30 minutes to an hour on your chart. It's not asking for a lot, right? Go through it, mark levels that you think are support and resistance levels, and then see how price reacts to it. See how price respects it. So let's start going through it. So here I'd mark this as a support. Here I'd mark this as a resistance, right? You see how I'm drawing in a box? I'm doing it to show you guys that it's more regionally of a concept. Now, some of you guys may be a little more OCD or you want clean lines. I'm more of a line guy myself, honestly. Maybe you just want to draw it in like that. Whatever works for you, right? So let's call that support. And let's call, this resistance right here, however you want to draw it in. Now, if you're wondering, what line should I draw it on? I like to basically get the most touches as possible, right? I want the cleanest amount of touches. The more equal these levels are, the better. And another tip there, if you have equal lows or equal highs, it's a strong area for price to go towards. So let's find some more examples. All right. And sometimes it's not that obvious, right? You can see price bounces around a lot and you're probably like, well, KP, is this resistance here? And is this support? Yeah, at the time it probably was, right? If you were trading this in real time. Multiple lows touching this box here are support level, multiple highs touching this box here, that's my resistance. And you will find more confidence with this when, again, you go and do the homework, right? You put in the screen time and you see these examples in real time. That's why I'm able to mark them so quickly, because I've been doing this a long time. I can generally see prices holding these levels. I don't need to have an exact pinpoint line in there if I don't want to, but you can generally see the concept there. One more tip here is that with support and resistance, you're going to typically be able to find it the easiest in areas that are more boxed in. These are areas known as consolidation, right? This is known as consolidation, or, prices trading sideways, right? No real direction, right? This is probably the easiest examples on where to mark this, right? So this is clearly a support level here, and this is also our resistance level right here. And if you're struggling to figure this out as well, if you're struggling to say, hey, which highs and lows matter the most, right? So if we go here, right, is this high more significant? Is that significant? Is that low significant? Is this high significant? What about this little high right here? How do you know which one? My advice would be, if you're struggling with this, zoom out, right? Go to the higher time frames, and you should be able to kind of step across the room and look at your computer screen and note these highs and lows, right? These should really pop out to you. So I can tell you now, right? This pops out to me. That pops out, right? I wouldn't even count that one as much. I'd say this one more, that one. Right? These highs up here are generally this high, this high, this high, this low, right? I'm not marking these little fuckers. Now, it's not that they're not important. I just want to make sure that I'm being consistent and I'm looking for the most obvious areas that could be deemed support or resistance. If you guys have any questions, I have a Discord that you can completely access. Go ahead and check out that link down below. And in that Discord, I can run this through you as much as you need me to. I offer mentorship in there. You can talk to me one-on-one pretty much 24/7 or whenever most people are awake. So go ahead and check out that link below. Otherwise, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and comment below if you found this helpful, and I'll catch you in the next video.